As a person with a very deep voice, I'm hired all the time for advertising campaigns. But a deep voice doesn't sell B2B, and advertising on the wrong platform doesn't sell B2B either. That's why if you're a B2B marketer, you should use LinkedIn ads. LinkedIn has the targeting capabilities to help you reach the world's largest professional audience. That's right, over 70 million decision makers all in one place. All the big wigs, then medium wigs, also small wigs who are on the path to becoming big wigs. Okay, that's enough about wigs. LinkedIn ads allows you to focus on getting your B2B message to the right people. So, does that mean you should use ads on LinkedIn instead of hiring me, the man with the deepest voice in the world? Yes. Yes, it does. Get started today and see why LinkedIn is the place to be to be. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Go to linkedin.com/MPN to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/MPN. Terms and conditions apply.
Entrepreneurs Enigma is a podcast for the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. So the wins and the fails that we all face being entrepreneurs, how we learn from adversity. Every week I talk to a different entrepreneur with a story to tell. I'm Seth Goldstein. Come with me on the journey. This is Entrepreneurs Enigma. Let's get started. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Entrepreneurs Enigma podcast. I am, as always, your host, Seth. Today I have Tanya Alvarez, right? I did that right? First try? Nice. Yes. She is the owner and chief bottle washer over at OwnersUP. And her game is to make sure that everyone can be self-sufficient and really rock their business and their life. At 25, Tanya self-funded her New York City ad agency with credit cards. Sounds familiar. That's what I did with my little agency back in 2007. I was like, yeah, I have to do it with credit cards. And she went from 0 to 1 million in revenue in the first year, which is very impressive. And then she showed the 42 countries and then the Boston and New York Marathon and Half Ironman while battling a rare brittle bone condition. That's hard to say. So that's impressive that you did all those things with with your bones being brittle. I mean, that's insane. But you did it. So rah rah rah. It's awesome. And she's a classic underdog who's like not gonna let anything keep her down. Rah rah rah. And now she's in Minnesota and braving the Minnesota weather. So which I can relate to right now because it's snowing in Philadelphia. So, but not like it does in Minnesota. It's not negative something. So,
I think right now it is -5.
Oh my God, it's like 25 here. It's not bad. It's just snowing. -20. Oh, -5. Oh, brr. So how's it going, Tanya? How you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me here.
Always a pleasure. So how did this all get started? What made you want to start an ad agency and do it with credit cards?
Yeah, who does that, right?
I do. That's how I ran my business. That's how I run my business. Yeah, I run it that way.
Right. You figure it out. It kind of puts you on the hook somehow.
Yeah.
So when I graduated, all the startups, there wasn't as many startups going on. So I found the few that were, and I worked every position possible. And then at one point at 25, I was like, wow, I want to start my own thing. I think I have enough kind of played in every role. So I asked my mother, I'm like, gotta get some sort of feedback from someone. And I was like, hey, should I start my own thing? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, what happens if I fail? And she goes, you'll be exactly where you are now. And I was like,
you just go back and get a job. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I go, well, what happens if a company doesn't want to hire me because I failed? She's like, you wouldn't want to work for a company like that. And it's true at 25, like you have nothing to lose. So I went for it, and we weren't one of those like well off. Like if my mom wasn't going to save me, nobody in my family could save me financially in that point. So that's what I did, credit card, and just worked my way through.
Yeah, it's scary at times, but you know what? It's worth it at the end. I mean, you went from 0 to 1 million in the first year. I didn't do that. I still haven't done that.
It was hard. It's a lot. And then the craziest thing I did, and that was because you're 25, and this is before Instagram, and it was like so cool to work from anywhere. I wanted to travel because like growing up, I came from a low income household and was my single mom raising 4 kids.
Oh, geez, God bless her.
I never like got to travel or do anything. So I was like, I'm going to travel. So I would go to places, book, my birthday's on June 1st. I'd book somewhere right around Memorial Day weekend for like a week. And then around Christmas to New Year's, I'd book something far away. So like think of Asia, Thailand, Vietnam, all those places for 2 weeks. So this is what really was a trick. So I had a team of people before. It was like, I had some people in the US and then I had people in Colombia.
Oh, we're going to take a quick break, hear from our sponsors, and get right back.
Hey there, it's Jason with the Marketing Podcast Network. Real quick, I want to make sure you know that the world's leading B2B Marketing Expo is returning to the Los Angeles Convention Center on March 21st and 22nd. It's high time we got back together to learn, see the latest technologies and solutions, and network, right? Join thousands of marketing professionals just like you to learn from over 250 industry expert speakers, educational masterclasses, and over 300 exhibitors. And this year, your ticket also gets you into the Sales Innovation Expo and the Marketing and Advertising Expo. So it's like 3 conferences in one. It's March 21st and 22nd at the Los Angeles Convention Center. Go to b2bmarketingexpo.us to register. That's b2bmarketingexpo.us. The Marketing Podcast Network is a proud partner of the B2B Marketing Expo for 2023. We'll see you in LA.
The show.
So that's why I was able to leverage that. And so I was not micromanaging them. And if I wanted to go away to these places, and like if I was going to go hike Machu Picchu, like there's no internet connection. So
it still isn't.
If things go down, it's going to go down. So it forced me to create systems and processes that run without me, and made me realize like if there's an emergency that's going to happen, my team needs to like step up and do it, and I can fix anything.
And know how to do it. And know how to do it. Like how would Tanya do it? What would Tanya do?
And that's the thing with most businesses. Like now, most people say they want to be away, but they're terrified.
Oh yeah, it's terrifying.
Away. Yeah.
But if the system's in place, it helps. Like when I leave, I say, watch X, Y, and Z for me. And I put a system in place. And they're not permanent systems, which they should be, but like they're at least like these are the ones that possibly will go down.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure they don't, essentially.
No, I have it because you never know what could happen. Like these systems are in place no matter what.
Yeah, and then sometimes the systems don't go well either. Sometimes.
And then there's another thing I think most people forget, that they don't realize that they can hire somebody for $4 an hour. And so they wait until they make a certain amount of money to hire somebody, where you can actually hire right away. I think that most people, even if you're making $1,000 a month, $2,000, hire out as quick as possible.
Yeah, because contractors, that's what we do. We have contractors and we use them, and they are happy. They get their money and they're thrilled. We actually don't. We only go off the continent. We still. I mean, they're still local to me. I mean, the people I know.
Oh wow!
But still, it's I mean, I have a guy who is about 30 minutes north of me, and I have a lady who's in Brooklyn.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and then I have a guy who's in the south of me, close to Philadelphia.
It might be more expensive. So those people are going to be a little more expensive when you're starting off.
But they're not even that bad when you think about it, because they don't have
the scheme of things. Yeah,
they don't have the benefits you have to worry about. They get their own stuff. They can do their own jobs when they want to do them. They work with me when I have something for them, and it's great. It's able to make me lean and nimble and expand when I need to. So it's great. So were these people full time with you when you were in your ad agency, or? Oh, wow.
So full time in Colombia. So I had in Colombia at that time. Wow. Their account managers, I think paid $500. Then I also had a CTO in Colombia too.
You need someone down there. Exactly.
So no, it was like, I wanted to build technology at that point. I wanted to kind of build like this call center software that like filters in all this information and like tracks things, like all this stuff. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Why not? So we started and it was cheap. And it was a win-win because they were getting paid really well. And
because down there, $500, is a lot of money down there.
So that's my first advice. Hire abroad, a place where, I don't know, $500 or $600 goes far. And they're happy. Yeah. You're happy. And then you can start expanding from there.
Exactly. Did you have anyone stateside too eventually, or was it all at Columbia?
We did get some people. We had like account managers that were in person, right?
Yeah, so they could go talk to people. Right? Yeah, it makes more sense. Sometimes you need put faces to the name and stuff like that. So, Oh, that's wild. And so you did that for a while, and then you ran the marathons and the half Ironman, which is insane to me, And like, what made you want to do those? I mean, you had a brittle bone condition. What made you say, "Well, hell with this. I'm going to go run the marathon"?
Well, my sister has like the very severe, and it's called osteogenesis imperfecta.
Oh,
and I think there's a movie that, what was it? Breakable? What's the guy?
Yeah.
He had it, right? So
Yeah.
I have this level, but I didn't know until I ran the 70.3 Ironman, and I did
That's where they find out.
Yeah, I had a stress fracture. And that's when they found out I had it. And I was like literally walking on it for a month and not even realizing it. Until my employees were like, I've seen you do some crazy races. You've never popped an ibuprofen and you are popping it every morning. And they're like, you got to go to the doctor.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, oh, maybe I'm just sore. This is the half Ironman was brutal.
Yeah, I'm sure.
The goal is to do.
It sounds brutal. Yeah.
The goal is to do a full Ironman when science catches up to, because like my cartilage in my hip is 1/3 gone.
Oh, so, yeah, you don't want to make the other 2/3 go away. You want to let's get it generating again first.
Yeah,
that makes more sense. Yeah, so you did that. You did the New York Marathon and the Boston Marathon. So it's like the two big, I mean, these are like top-notch marathons. I mean, these aren't just like, I mean, Philadelphia has a marathon, great. Like that. I mean, I'm from Philly, so I'm proud of it. But like,
yeah.
I mean, you hear about the Boston Marathon, you hear about the New York Marathon. It's like, this is a big deal. So was that after that? Was that before or after the Ironman?
That was before I did those. And I was like, oh, let's go for the next challenge. And that's when I did. But
and then you like, I got to take a break. Yeah.
It was interesting. During that process, that's when the concept of OwnersUP came about. Because here I was training for the Boston Marathon. And even though I've done New York Marathon, I was a collegiate athlete, like cross country and everything.
So you're a runner. So that makes more sense. You're a runner.
I love that kind of craziness. Yeah, it's in my wheelhouse, right? That intensity.
Yeah. Not for me. I'm a biker, but if even that.
I'm going to do the century ride this year. That's my challenge. Yeah.
Well, that's a little bit easier on the hips, though. That's easier on the hips.
Yeah, but on the butt, it's going to be a little different.
Yeah, your butt's going to be sore for a while. I've done a century, and it hurts. No, every day hurts. If you're doing, I broke one up. I've done I did a century over a few days, and if you stop, don't stop. Just do your century. Just get it done and pay the price, and you'll be happy.
Goal is August.
Oh, that'd be nice. And in Minnesota.
Yep, I'm gonna do it.
It'll be gorgeous. That's like the perfect time because it won't be too high. Well, it's Minnesota. Who knows with Minnesota? But yeah. Because you get really cold winters, but you also used to have really nice. I know you used to have friends in Minnesota.
Beautiful summers, yeah. Then
so it'll be perfect for a century ride. It's perfect.
It's just getting the time in, and with 2 toddlers, like because you need to have
2 toddlers. Are they twins?
No, I have a 2 and a 4-year-old. Well, they're going to turn 2 and 4.
All right, so you have a toddler and a punk.
And a punk, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, 4-year-old. The toddlers, you think they're punks until they turn 4, and it gets worse. It gets worse.
Oh no.
I have an 11-year-old. Oh my God, it's a ride. It's a trip to say the least. So anyhow, so you've done a lot. You've done the corporate grind to 25, and then you did the crazy thing that I did too. Start a business. What's the best thing about being an entrepreneur in your mind?
So there's a pros and cons to it, right? It's the freedom.
There is. I'm gonna ask you the cons too. Yeah.
It's freedom to do anything. To just think of stuff and kind of actually get to see it to fruition, right? Because like sometimes when you work at a company, you really don't know what's going on. The con is shiny object syndrome, right? It's like, oh, I want to do this. Oh, I want to do that. And then you're kind of like zigzagging everywhere and not having a big purpose. And it happens to entrepreneurs. I would say it keeps on until they have a board that keeps them accountable, right?
Even then, sometimes they're like, I want to do this. They're like, no, you can't do that. Yeah.
Yep.
That's wild. Then what keeps you up at night besides your kids?
Yeah. No, I'm actually a good sleeper. So when you're saying,
awesome.
Yeah, that's a rare one, right? I think
that's a rare one for entrepreneurs. There's always a worry. Yeah.
What am I worrying about? No, recently I haven't been worrying, which is good.
That's great. You're just rocking and rolling. That's what I like to hear. So here's the big question. What is the most important thing to carry with you all the time? Besides a set of running shoes.
Now it's like the phone. I never thought I was going to be one of those people who pay with Apple Pay. I was like, who will ever use that? And now I'm like, oh, you don't carry Apple Pay? Oh, great. I don't have a credit card on me. Like, how am I going to pay?
Yeah, no, it's insane. And then what about on the woo-woo side? Like, what do you carry internally, with you all the time?
Values and stuff.
Yeah.
The woo-woo side.
The woo-woo side. That's a technical term.
Yeah, I love it. So mine is more about looking to like values and then really seeing, actually it's further. Now that I have kids, once you have kids, your legacy changes and how you think about life. Now you're not like chasing this goal just to have it. Before I think I was ego driven, and now I'm driven to make an impact and a legacy. Like who's going to remember me if when I go, thumbs up, great.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Macintosh. Exactly.
Who's going to remember? It's going to be the kids. That's it. Everyone else after a while is just going to be like gone. Look at Michael Jackson. We remember him, but 10, 20 years from now, I don't know how many people are going to remember. Who knows?
They remember his music more than they remember him, which for him is probably a good thing.
It's true.
Exactly. You want to remember the music, not remember the guy, because he was questionable. So this is awesome. So what's going up with OwnersUP lately? Like what's the big push this year? Because we're at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. So one of the big things and it comes back to hiring somebody abroad. I think people need to hire a VA. And what ends up happening is they hire a virtual assistant, but they have them only doing admin work, right? And they need to have them to do marketing work, right? Yeah. So getting yourself on podcasts, going on LinkedIn, figuring out who you should be targeting and having those conversations and starting those conversations.
And they love doing that. If you're a VA, you love doing that stuff. That's what matters. And see, Apple agrees with me.
Yes, so I know it's just a fun little feature, this Mac. But yeah, I think
let's put a thumbs up when someone moves their hand. That's great. That's fantastic.
No, supposedly when you do a heart, it does this like heart thing too.
Oh, your hearts! Yay! Now this has made the podcast. Very awesome. That's awesome. But so where can people find you online? Where do you hang out the most? Like online? Where's your watering hole online?
I would say LinkedIn is my space. That's where I'm posting most of my content and just engaging.
That's awesome. And we'll have that in the show notes, along with your the Grit OwnersUP/RAP. What's that? Is that your course?
No, it's just a thing to help me stay focused every single day. R is kind of like what you end up doing today. So like actually a review what you accomplished. Some days as an entrepreneur, you're just like, whoa, this day was intense and I don't know what I accomplished, right?
I hate that feeling. Yeah, that happens. Yeah.
And then so this is kind of like making you realize like, okay, I did a bunch of busy work, but is this going to move the needle? So taking that time to review. A is for assess, 1 through 5. How is it? Was it an awesome day? What's a 5? Now reverse engineer. Look at all your 5s every month and be like, how can I make all my days awesome? And if they're not, how can I delegate it? And then
that's awesome.
Prioritize 3 things, the top 3 things that you need to get done. So and I like to do a cutoff. Like, what are the 3 things I need to get done by 12 o'clock? And that's it. Because everything else gets hijacked, right? Something
the kids come home or the kids walk in the door, mommy. Husband gets on a phone call.
True.
That's fun. So Tanya, thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been so much fun. And guess what? We'll see everyone next time.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
That was a great show. If you're enjoying Entrepreneurs Enigma, please review us in the podcast directory of your choice. Every review helps other podcast listeners find our show. If you're looking for other podcasts in the marketing space, look no further than the Marketing Podcast Network at marketingpodcasts.net. Goldstein Media hopes you have enjoyed this episode.
This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.